Quick, power down and go silent. Captain Rick Mercer said it a little louder than he meant to. Not that it mattered. No one out in space would hear him anyway, particularly the Andarian warship they'd stumbled on. He gripped the armrest of his command chair and watched the main display like it might bite him. Andarian warships were huge, bulky beasts that were hard to find and even harder to kill. This one didn't appear to be menacing anyone at the moment, but that would certainly change, knowing the Andarians. The Resolute drifted. All non-essential systems dropped to zero. The hum of the recyclers faded. The ambient lighting died down to emergency amber. In the sudden quiet, Mercer became very aware of his own heartbeat. "Drive signature?" he murmured. Lieutenant Yara Chen at the sensor station shook her head without looking up. "None. They're coasting. Looks like a patrol route. Slow arc, probably a sector sweep. They see us? If they did, we'd know." Fair point. Andarians were not subtle about that sort of thing. On the display, the warship turned slowly in the dark like a sleeping animal. It was enormous. Easily 12 times the mass of the Resolute. A blunt wedge of layered armor plating and weapons arrays that jutted from its hull like broken teeth. Andarian engineering philosophy had never prioritized elegance. It prioritized surviving direct hits from other Andarian ships, which said a great deal about Andarian culture. Mercer turned in his chair. Kovacs. At the weapons console, Petty Officer Jake Kovacs was already pulling up a different interface than anyone expected. Not targeting solutions, not countermeasures. He was scrolling through what looked, to anyone glancing over, like a simplified maintenance menu. "Already on it, Captain. They're going to be on this heading for how long?" Chen ran the numbers. 17 minutes before their arc takes them out of optimal range. After that, passive tracking gets noisy. Then we have 12 minutes to work with. Mercer looked at Kovacs. "Jake, ready when you are." What Kovacs was doing was not in the standard tactical manual. It wasn't exactly not in the manual either. The relevant section simply didn't exist yet because the device he was preparing had been designed by a 19-year-old propulsion tech on Resolute's previous deployment who got bored on a long transit and started asking questions like, what if we just knew where they were, always, forever? The answer had taken 3 months and looked, superficially, like a palm-sized disk with a mild adhesive surface and a power cell rated for 4 years of continuous broadcast. It transmitted on a frequency tucked inside the natural interference signature of Andarian hull plating, invisible to their own sensors, perfectly readable to anyone who knew what to listen for. The crew called it a barnacle. "Launching," Kovacs said softly. The Resolute made no sound. No flash, no detectable emission. A single low-pressure pneumatic tube, the same kind used to eject sensor decoys, gave one quiet cough. The barnacle drifted out into the dark, tumbling gently, carrying just enough lateral velocity to intercept the Andarian ship's hull at the precise point where the sensor shadow was deepest. It hit with a contact force roughly equivalent to a moth landing on a windshield. It stuck. 12 seconds of silence. "Telemetry," Chen said. "We've got a solid lock. 40-year battery, nominal signal, beacon active." She paused. "It's on." No one cheered. That wasn't really a cheering moment. Several people exhaled in a specific way that communicated everything a cheer would have without the noise. Mercer watched the Andarian warship continue its slow patrol arc, utterly unaware that it was now broadcasting its position, heading, speed, and course corrections to every UESN relay station within 6 light-years. "Log it," he said. "Full telemetry packet to fleet. Tag it Andarian Actual Sector 9. Logged and transmitted." "All right." He settled back in his chair. "Bring us back up, slow and easy." The recyclers hummed back to life. The lights returned. The Resolute woke up quietly, like a man getting out of bed so as not to disturb anyone. At the weapons console, Jake Kovacs reached under his station and pulled out a binder, thick, worn at the corners, its spine reinforced with tape. The cover read, "Andarian Threat Assessment. Active contacts" in bold stenciled letters. He flipped it over. The back cover was a grid of small, neat tally marks in groups of 5. He uncapped his pen and scratched a new one. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. 41 Andarian warships. 41 beacons. 41 ships that thought they were invisible. They weren't. Comment the word tagged and follow Sci-Fi Shorts for more.